The phone rang at 5 a.m. A thin, desperate sound that sliced straight through my sleep. When I answered, I heard my daughter's voice. Soft, broken, trembling. She whispered, "Mom, please come, I am in the hospital." My heart dropped. Those few seconds of silence after her words felt like my soul left my body. When I reached the ICU, I froze. My daughter lay on the bed, her face bruised, her arm in a cast, her ribs wrapped in bandages. She looked like life itself had given up on her. I walked closer, and she burst into tears. Her fingers weakly reached for my hand. She whispered the words that changed everything. "Mom, it was my husband and his mother. They beat me again." My vision blurred. My chest burned. I felt something inside me tear apart. Asked her gently why. She cried harder and said, "They said I was useless. They said I failed as a wife. I cooked late. I washed dishes wrong. I breathed wrong." Her voice cracked. "Mom, I thought marriage meant love, not torture." I held her head to my chest. I wanted to scream. I wanted to break something. But I stayed silent for her. As the morning sun crept through the ICU window, one thing became clear. I was done watching my daughter suffer. I was done waiting for justice. I was done being polite. When the doctor finally came in, he sighed as he looked at her condition. He said calmly, "These injuries are from repeated trauma." Repeated. That word crushed me. It meant this wasn't the first time. It meant she had been hiding more than I knew. I looked at her and said softly, "How long has this been happening?" She closed her eyes and whispered, "Since the second month of marriage. Every time something small went wrong, his mother blamed me, and he obeyed her like I wasn't even human." I begged them to stop. I kept quiet, thinking it would get better. But Mom, it only got worse. Hearing those words felt like swallowing a knife. My daughter, who used to laugh like sunshine, now spoke like someone who lived in a dark room for years. I asked her, "Why didn't you tell me?" She whispered, "I was ashamed. I didn't want you to think I failed." I held her hand tighter. "No, you didn't fail. They did. They failed as humans." That was the moment, the exact moment. I knew I wasn't only going to confront them. I was going to end their cycle of control forever. I went home, packed my suitcase, not with clothes, but with every document, photo, screenshot, and detail that could destroy the two people who had destroyed my daughter's peace. Each item I placed inside felt like loading bullets into a gun. Not for violence, but for justice, for truth, for the voice my daughter had been afraid to use. I drove to their house with a rage that felt cold, not wild. Cold, sharp, calculated. The kind of anger that doesn't scream, it acts. When I reached the gate, I saw my daughter's husband, Michael. Tall, arrogant, a man whose ego walked 2 steps ahead of him. He smirked when he saw me. "Oh, so she ran to you again. Why are you here, old woman?" His tone was poisonous. I stepped closer and said each word slowly. "I am here because you put my daughter in the ICU." His smirk vanished, but he still tried to look brave. "Watch your tone. You don't know what she did. She disrespected my mother. She made her upset." I looked right into his eyes and said, "Upset enough to break her bones." He looked away for a second. That 1 second told me everything. He knew he was guilty, but pride kept him pretending. Then his mother appeared. Her lips tight, her eyes cold. She said sharply, "Your daughter deserved it. Maybe now she will learn how a real wife behaves." I swear I felt my blood boil. My fists clenched, but I forced myself to breathe. I said calmly, "Thank you for admitting it." Her eyebrows shot up. "What do you mean admitting?" I lifted my phone. The small red light flashing. Recording. Every word they said had just become evidence. They both stepped back. "You recorded us. Delete it. Delete it now." "Touch me, and I add assault to the list," I said. My voice low, sharp like a blade. Even I didn't recognize myself. I walked into their living room like it belonged to me. They stormed in behind me, shouting, asking questions, threatening. None of it mattered. Inside, I opened my suitcase, laid out every document on their table. Hospital reports, Photos of bruises. Voice notes my daughter had secretly recorded. Screenshots of their insults. A timeline of every injury she suffered. Michael screamed, "What are you doing?" I said calmly, "Ending this nightmare.
Today."
His mother narrowed her eyes. "What do you want?" "Justice. Freedom. Everything you stole from my daughter." They exchanged a glance, fear creeping into their expressions. Michael sat down, his legs shaking. For the first time, he didn't look powerful. He looked trapped. He said quietly, "What if we refuse? What will you do?" I leaned forward. "I will spread this recording to every relative, every friend, every neighbor, every person who knows you. And I will send these reports straight to the police. And you will face charges for domestic violence, cruelty, and attempted murder." His mother gasped. "Attempted murder? That's too much. You can't do that." I asked calmly. "Then why is my daughter covered in bruises? Why are her ribs cracked? Why is her wrist fractured? Why did the doctor write repeated trauma? Explain it to me." She opened her mouth, but nothing came out. For once she had no lie, no excuse, no story to twist. Michael shouted, "What do you want from us?" I pointed to the papers. "You will sign divorce papers. Today you will compensate every medical bill she has. You will return all her jewelry and documents. And you will never speak to her again." His mother whispered, "This will ruin us. Please don't do this. People will talk." I looked at her with all the coldness I had. People should talk. They should know what you did. Maybe then you will stop pretending to be saints.
Michael snapped fine.
"We will sign. But delete the recording." I looked him straight in the eyes.
No.
"I am keeping it. As insurance. If you ever come near her again, I will press charges.
And trust me,
I will win." His mother broke down crying. Her tears meaningless. Because they weren't from guilt. They were from fear. Fear of being exposed. Michael signed the papers with hands that kept trembling. His mother signed too. Every signature felt like a chain breaking around my daughter's neck. I collected the papers, put them back in my suitcase, and stood up. "One more thing,"
I said.
"If you ever spread rumors about her, if you ever try to blame her, I will release everything to the police. And you won't survive that." Michael whispered, "Please, just go." I walked toward the door,
Stopped.
and said, "You both could have been family. You chose to be monsters. Now live with it." When I returned to the hospital, my daughter looked up at me with tired, scared eyes. She whispered, "Mom, where were you? What happened?"
I sat beside her,
Held her hand, and said softly, "Everything is over. You are free now." She blinked, confused.
free. How?
I told her everything. The recording, the signatures, the divorce papers, the insurance, the consequences. Every detail. Tears filled her eyes. She covered her face and sobbed into her hands.
Mom.
I can breathe again. I can finally breathe. I hugged her. You never failed. You never disappointed me. You survived things no one should ever survive. And now you will live, not just exist. She cried against my shoulder, her voice shaking. Thank you, Mom, for fighting for me, for not giving up on me. I kissed her hair.
No.
Thank you for holding on long enough for me to reach you. The morning light spilled into the hospital room. Soft, warm, gentle. For the first time in years, it felt like hope. My daughter was safe. And the people who hurt her would spend the rest of their lives remembering the day her mother showed up. Not weak, not helpless, but unstoppable. I walked into an ICU at 5 a.m. and walked out as the mother who destroyed a monster's pride to save her child.